profile, your background, you're going up. I want you to give us
A
details
quick
about
one.
it. Yeah.
Okay, let me start from way back in Nigeria because I'm a professional actor and as well as an international actor. I started way back from 20 years ago in the Nollywood movie industry. I've done a couple of movies in the Nollywood, the Yoruba movie sector. I've done a lot of movies, and with my calculation, I have done over 150 something movies, far back as 2013 before I left the country. And this Nollywood movie industry of the thing, I keep on doing all this. And when you check back into your account, you feel like, am I really doing good, or is it just all about the name for me, or what am I really doing? So I said to myself, Abe, you need to see beyond this Nollywood movie industry. So I decided then. I said, okay, I need to see beyond Nollywood movie industry, and I decided to travel to India. So along the line, I found myself in Malaysia. Then when I got to Malaysia, it was another ball game on its own because another thing is when you're going for greener pasture, and when you get to where you're going, you come to realize that it is another game on its own. So I said to myself, Abe, you need to find your way first. So after I found myself, then I said to myself, Abe, you love acting. Acting is your core. What can you do? How can you proceed into your filmmaking thing? Then I started going for different auditions. Trust me, all the auditions that I went for, they made me understand, Mr. Crack, we love your acting. You have a very good reaction. We love you, but do you have any mixed martial art background? And I'm like, Abe, mixed martial art. You mean I should fight or something? They said, no, a filmmaking mixed martial art background. And I said to myself, I don't know how to do all this, but you can check my record. I've done a lot of movies. I've done a couple of movies, and I started showing some movies on YouTube. And they said to me, Mr. Abe, don't get it twisted. Yeah, in Malaysia, we do drama. But what you do in Nollywood is talk, 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 talk.
So
And I said to myself, they want more of action. And when you look at my kind of structure, they feel like, you have a very nice body. Why can't you fight? You should be able to do some choreographs. And I said to myself, Abe, you love doing this. Why don't you just sacrifice and do something? I want to make it quickly. I want to make it very short. I don't want to go too much into detail. So I said to a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, and he said, Abe, you are not too old to do this. And I said, okay, what can I do? He introduced me to one mixed martial arts class, and I said to myself, Abe, even if I do something like this, people are still going to say, of course, you should be able to do it. What can you do that will astonish people? What can you do that will be different from what others have been doing? And I said to myself, Abe, I think you need to do something different. So I went to learn Silat. This is what you call Silat. Silat is a kind of fight that you do it slow kind of movement. It's a kind of dance, and Silat is known as a traditional cultural fight in Malaysia, because when you look at Chinese people, they have Kung Fu. Chinese people do Kung Fu. When you look at other Brazilians, they do capoeira. A lot of them like that. But in Malaysia, they respect this Silat. Silat, they don't just fight. They fight to defend. It's not to offend. Even when you're coming hard at me, there are so many ways I can bring you down while I am still giving you this automatic kind of, while I'm still respecting you. So from there, I looked for this, and I found my sifu. And the minute he saw me, he said, Abe, I am not going to teach you how to fight. I said, why? I said, I just want to learn. He said, because you look tough. You look like somebody who wants to avenge. And I said, sir, this is my profile. I just want to mingle in this industry. I want people to accept me in this industry because this is what I love doing. I can't afford to start from the scratch or going for extras in this country. So he said, okay, I'm going to teach you. So we started. I was supposed to stay there for 6 months. Instead of 6 months, I spent a year. There are a lot of things that come after that. So while I was learning this fight, I was learning the language, because don't get it mixed up. In Malaysia, if you cannot communicate, if you cannot speak their language, it's a big deal. Like, how do we communicate with you? You don't even speak my language. How you want me to tell you action? How you want me to tell you pagi? How you want me to tell you apakaba? Things like that. So I was learning all these things. But while I was learning all these things, I was doing some choreographs and I was posting it on my social media. So it's already known to some of the Malaysians that, oh, there's one guy in Malaysia. There's one black guy doing Silat. So that has given me some kind of milestone, like, oh, this is the only African guy doing this. So the minute I left my seafood place, like this friend of mine that I told you, he produced a movie, because he was a producer then, because he's late now, may his soul rest in perfect peace. Keshan is his name. So he produced a movie and I choreographed the movie. I choreographed the fight, all the fights in the movie, and I play a major role as a bad guy in the movie. The minute they release the teaser of this movie, boom, I've been everywhere. So I stopped going for auditions. Even if I had to go for any audition then, if I went for 5 different auditions, I'll be chosen 4 or 3. That's why I hardly go for audition. And after that, I produced a movie titled One Blood. One Blood is about full stunts. So I released the teaser again, and since then they want to shoot any movie, any part of the world. They're coming to Malaysia. Trust me, I'm the first black guy they will call.
That is great. How easy was it for you settling in Malaysia movie industry? How easy would you say it is?
It wasn't easy, but the one thing you have to get at the back of your mind is if you want it, you have to go for it. Nobody is ready to give it to you as easy as you thought. But if you do not give up on yourself, you have a target like, no, it's either you give it to me, it's either you bring it to me or I come after you. It wasn't easy like at all. Just like I told you now, I've been through a lot of things like that. The sacrifice that I had to make, like going for the CLAT, devoting my time, considering while I was doing all these things, my side job is not moving on fine. So that is a lot of things that I've been through. But then, alhamdulillah, where I am today, with my calculation in Malaysia, I can tell you categorically, Malaysia movie, local Tamil movie, Chinese movie, Telugu movie, Bollywood movie, one Hollywood movie, all my calculation, I have done 50 movies, even more.
Over there
outside Nigeria. So aside from my 150 movies that I have done in Hollywood movies, which you can find all the titles online. So it was a long journey, not easy, but then we don't give up.
So what was the reason for your comeback into Nigeria? Because it was more like you're making it big in Malaysia and internationally.
Yeah.
So what's bringing you back into Hollywood?
Okay, there's one thing about this life that we have to understand. If you're being celebrated outside your country and your people are not celebrating you, that means what you're doing is not appreciated enough. So the love I'm getting from my people, I feel like it is not enough. I know a lot of social media influencers these days, before they go 100k followers, 200k followers, brand ambassador for this, brand ambassador for that, brand ambassador for this. So I said to myself, Abi, I'm doing really good there, but the endorsement is not as much as what is going on in Nigeria. So me coming back to Nigeria in 2018. So when I got back to Nigeria, I'm like, I wanted to work on something else, which I was working on this movie titled Nelaya. So, but when I got back to Nigeria, in my hotel room where I lodged, there was this generator making so much noise behind me, and I'm like, yeah, Allah, okay, this is what I'm going to face in Nigeria again. So I said to myself, Abi, we have a lot of great filmmakers in Nigeria who are producing nice movies every day, but no one has ever talked about electricity in Nigeria. No one has ever talked about what the problem we are facing in Nigeria. I can't imagine one house using 2 to 3 generators for what? Must we Africans depend on generator? Why is it that generator has been the only source of our power supply in this country? So I said to myself, Abi, I'm not going to work on this script again. So I folded the script and I threw it away. And I picked up my pen and I started writing this story titled Blackout. So I worked on this Blackout movie. I think I wrote the story for over 2 months. So after finishing up the story, I gave it to the script writer. So once we finished everything, then I said to myself, it's time for me to go straight into the action. So I started shooting this movie. I'm talking about 2018. So I started shooting this movie. Another challenge for me while I was working. You know, Nollywood movie. Don't forget what I was telling you. When I was going for all the auditions, they said, Nollywood guys, you do a lot of talkings.
Yes, exactly.
And I started calling all my artists. I gave them the script. You're going to fight here. You're going to fight here. Trust me, a lot of people rejected my script. That was the first time challenge. Like, I'm not going to fight though. You're going to break my bone. So I managed to get some artists on set. So while working on set, some of my stunt fighters, the ones that broke their knees, the ones that broke their elbow, the ones that broke it wasn't easy for me working with them. I'm talking about my DOP, my cameraman. You know, our cameramen in Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, I'm not trying to disrespect you guys. I'm not trying to discredit you guys. The point is they are used to static shots. They are used to close-up shots, medium shots, LS shots. It wasn't okay for me. It's more or less like I fought with my GOP. Like, man, when I move like this, you have to move like this. Because over there, fine, we do give and take. We do close-up shot, medium shot, long shot. But then, I mean, you have to be on your toes. You have to be at the goal. If your artists move around, you have to move. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of silat movement. But that is how we see it over there. Because I do a lot of movement. So when I move around, I found out when I check my shot, I'm already out of the shot. What are you doing? So a lot of things like that. And I said to myself, Abi, I cannot finish this movie. Because it is called Blackout. The movie was supposed to be shot, everything 100% shot in Nigeria. But because of my the road, the challenge and everything, I stopped the production. I achieved only the drama part of the movie, and I packed my load and I went back again. So I connected the story to a situation whereby when you watch the movie, you will know exactly where we shoot this one or where we shoot this one. Because even over there, I decided not to use some of my fighters. I used some of the black guys that we used to work together, the ones that are fit, that got the experience. So I try to mix it up that when you watch the movie, if you didn't see the BTS, what do we call the BTS? It's not BTS actually.
Behind the scene.
It's not even behind the scene. Can you remember? The bloopers, yes, the bloopers. So when you watch all the bloopers, you will see that okay, this movie was shot in Malaysia. The climax scene was shot in Malaysia. But while I was shooting all this climax scene, trust me, brother, it was so much fun for me because this guy that we worked together, I don't need to tell you you have to move. I don't need to tell you while I wanted to punch you, you have to dodge my punch. So it was much easy for me, and it was a lot of hard work for me because after shooting, we completed the shoot over there, and aside from that, the post-production took me 3 years down.
What you are bringing on board, it appears that you are about to revolutionize what is on ground in Nigeria when it comes to filmmaking. How do you intend to sustain this? Because it's obvious that you face a lot of challenges. Of course, you made mention of some that you face in the line. Yeah.
The thing is, it is not as easy as that. But then I believe with people like you, hearing my story, throwing my story out there, I believe a lot of people will be convinced. Because I was talking about Nollywood movie before. Nollywood movie industry is great because we are still rated as the second largest movie industry in the world. But where do they put us? Under the category of quantity. It's not as if we are producing quality movies. But then we want to say a very big thank you to the new people that are producing movies, like the likes of some movies on Netflix. They are really doing good now. But how do they go about their actions? Are they able to take the challenges? Are they able to take the pains? Tell me one actor that can jump from up to down. If you watch Crackydon the movie, you will see a lot of stuff that has never been done in Nollywood movie industry before. Name one or two actors in Nollywood movie industry that without a stunt double, they can do their own action. If you call Tom Cruise at this point, Tom Cruise will tell you, I can do my stunts myself. If you call Morgan Freeman, he will tell you, don't worry. If it is only for me to just move around, I can still do it. How many of our artists can do that in Nollywood movie industry? We didn't practice this, forgetting that this industry is growing. And if we are not very careful, because the only problem I see is this, we are too comfortable in our comfort zone. We don't want to take risk. I can give you a very quick example. While I was shooting Blackout the movie, the guy that was fighting with me, you won't believe, he took me up and he dropped me all of a sudden, and I had this shoulder dislocated. I went back to Asia with my head like this. So that's to tell you, they don't have the experience. But how can we solve this? That is why I think I am doing something, I'm bringing something like this, because it is not going to be easy for me. But just like I said before, with you guys, I think the journey is not going to be that easy. It's not far again.
Do you have any how will I put it now? Do you have any intention, yes, of setting let's say an academy now that would bring in young talented actors who will key into your vision for the industry?
Thank you so much for this question, because I think it's one of my favorite questions. I actually have something like that at the back of my mind, but I'm not thinking of starting it anytime soon, because one thing you need to know is, when I was telling you, I only trained to be a film mixed martial art. I am not a professional mixed martial art. I'm not a professional fighter. I don't do it for as my profession, only for filmmaking. So if I'm going to work on anything like this, trust me, it's going to be labeled film will come before mixed martial art or whatever I'm going to put behind it. But like I said, it's not going to be anytime soon, because another thing is you have to know, I'm based in Nigeria, and I am doing really good over there. And we can't compare over there to Nigeria. Fine, I know I'm expecting a lot from Nigerians, but then over there, it's my second home, because Malaysia is my second home, Nigeria is my first home. So I am not fully based in Nigeria now. In the future, yes, something like that.
Speaking about Blackout, your movie, what were the challenges that you faced aside the the martial art thing. What was the other thing that you saw that made you see that okay, they are really behind in our movie making?
The first thing that you will see is this: why do I have to leave my country and shoot the climax scene outside Nigeria? So that is where we do not have the competent, experienced actors who can give me exactly what I wanted. So that was the reason why I stopped the shoot in Nigeria and I decided to take it back there and finish the shoot. I think that is one of my challenges because, and aside from that, moving around was a big challenge in Nigeria because we shot one village scene at Ginti. Ginti is after Ikorodu. While we were traveling down to Ginti, I can tell you categorically 4 or 3 of our cars broke down because of the bad roads. Some of the cars sunk. We couldn't proceed again. We wasted the whole day. That was just one of them. So a lot of things that our government needs to work on for us.
I'm talking about movies in the Hollywood aspect. We hear that movies are being shot within the space of 5 to 6 days.
3 days.
3 days. So what exactly, how many days did it take you to do Blackout, basically?
Blackout, I shot Blackout for 18 days in Nigeria, and after the 18 days, I stopped the shoot, just like I told you, because I wasn't satisfied with what I was doing. So I stopped the shoot, and after I resumed back after a few days, sorry to say, I changed my crew. Because I wasn't kind of happy. I changed my crew. So after I changed my crew, a few days after that, I shot for 7 days again. 7 plus 18, that's about 25 days, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I stopped the whole shoot. So when I got back there, the fight scene that you're going to watch in Blackout, the movie, which is the climax scene of this movie, it is just one scene. But from this one scene, it has like 3-4 sequences. So these 3-4 sequences took us about 2 weeks. Just one scene.
For my research, I observed that the soundtrack of that movie is going to be the one that will feature this social crusader, Idris Abdulkarim.
Okay.
So how did you get him? Why did you bring him on? Yeah.
This is a very difficult question, but I will answer it in my own best way. I actually contacted Idris Abdulkarim because I feel the story I am passing the story I'm passing across is a story that is very, very much alike with this my brother Idris Abdulkarim. So I contacted him, but sorry to say, the conditions I was given by his management. So I feel like, okay, I don't want to do this again. And you know why I stopped communicating with them? And I think that is somehow rude, but I think you should send a message like, okay, that means we are no more interested. And I don't want to say I'm happy that I didn't feature him because I think the controversy might be too much if we had him on this project. And you know, we have to be very careful for the fact that the first thing we are passing a message that is very, very sensitive first. So I'm bringing another. I'm sure you know where I'm coming from. So that's why. And let me go back to your question. You talked about Nollywood movies shooting their movies for 2-3 days, or 5 days, or 6 days. One thing you need to understand is their audience are not complaining. So because if no matter how many times you complain, you will still go back on YouTube and watch again. Quote me wrong. So that is to tell you, your black people will say, be or war, if they shave more, they should mark him. But some of these people, they cannot afford to do the big job. So if they cannot afford it, you don't expect them to be waiting for the 60 million, 50. Who can even invest in you? All the money I spent on this project, everything was from my account. And as I'm talking to you now, I am drained. 60 million and still spending. So that is to tell you how many of these our directors or producers can you just say, okay, give me 60 million. And even if I gave you the 60 million, I know the kind of project you shoot. You that you shoot for 3 days, how can you handle 1 month project? So that's why people always tell you, you are as good as your last project.
Speaking on, so when you talked about pushing your thriller into the media, it sounded like you did it yourself. So I wanted to ask, what is it like with marketing for you here in Nigeria?
Trust me, while I was pushing Blackout the movie, the only people that stood by me, I can count Murphy Afolabi, Olamide Kwanyina, Jeff Owulewa, Eniola Ajao, Shotayo, and the rest. I don't want to talk otherwise, but I will still go back to I pushed it myself. You know why? Because people will not support you if you do not support yourself. People are not ready to associate themselves with a failure. If you claim it that you're a failure, people will call you a failure. But if you tell them, see, I am not going to, either you guys give up on me or you don't give up on me. With or without you guys, I am moving. So I think this is what everybody saw in me, like, oh, this guy is not giving up. So along the line, people came around, and the most support that I can tell you I get, I think one of my posts recently talked about it, is media. That's why I always tell people, if you want to succeed in life, especially if you want to survive this entertainment industry, you need to have something at the back of your mind. Social media is inside media. So if you want to make it and you do not pay your homage to the media and you believe in social media, you are only deceiving yourself. So all the support I get is from the media.
All right. So I would like to ask you one more question. In the nearest future, who would you like to work with after this comes
Project.
out? After this project?
Actually, Jimmy used to be my very, very good. I don't want to say inspiration because I feel I can do better than him. I am not covering my mouth, I'm beating my chest and saying this to you guys. I can do better than him in the sense that I can do a lot of stunts. He do not dare it. Check on my profile, check my bio, check my show reel on YouTube, on my Instagram, everywhere. You can see some stunts that I have done. Nobody done. I did everything myself, and I have featured in over 50 international movies. If Jim Mike is big, yeah, he's big. I'm not trying to discredit him. He's only big here in Nollywood. It's big as, of course, it's a world famous star. But I am telling you that what I can do, they do not dare it. He's still a very good guy that I would love to work with him one day. And aside from that, who else? Anyone that's doing good in the Nollywood movie industry.
During your formative years, when you were growing up, of course, children at that age usually have a lot running in their minds. At what point did you decide that picking a profession in the movie industry is where to go?
Actually, when I was young, especially let me say while we were growing up and getting to know that we have some talent in us, I started as a rapper, as a rap artist. We were this kind of Adigo famous, the street famous guys, because me and Jeff Owulewa, I don't know if you know Jeff. Back then in Nollywood movie, we used to say, me American lollipop. He would say, me American ice cream. So back then, we used to go from street to street, we used to rap. As in, we can rap for Africa. But then at the end of the day, we kept on rapping and rapping and rapping and rapping, and this our bargain is always big like this. Nothing was coming out of it, and I mean, this is not your choosing career. So, and the Yoruba movie industry came on along the line. Actually, I started with Efolu Michaels, that is English film, which is my program then was Art Mending. So from there, we kept on doing it, and the Yoruba movie actors, they become this famous. Kevin Ikeduba, Ricardo Agbo, Ima Ojili, a lot of them like that, because all these people I'm mentioning, name any artist in Yoruba movie industry and English movie industry. I work with almost every one of them. So, I saw these people crossing, and I'm like, Jeff, we need to cross to this Yoruba movie industry, but we didn't just come into the industry like that. Because then I think we were this kind of big boys. Then we shot one movie back then, titled Igunugbo Eyaye. So this Igunugbo Eyaye was launched by Alhaji Pasuma Wonder, and we have city people supported us, I think 2009 or 2008. City people came down to cover it up, Alhaji Pasuma launched it, and then from there people started saying, oh, who are these two guys? So we thank Awilo Kola Jeremy. They gave us our very first lead role. Wow. The movie was titled Ijangbara in Abeokuta. Yeah, so from there, I used to have this long dread. That was my signature there. So from the lead role, people started calling us, and we thank God here we are.
At what point did you have that conviction that yes, you've gotten what you wanted in the industry, that yes, you can now forge ahead?
In Nollywood or outside Nigeria?
In Nollywood, before you forge ahead outside.
It was the confidence. because we started with this kind of, sorry to say, kind of arrogant. Like, I mean, my mother, you said to me, with this kind of artists that we always write our lines. Back then, you want to beat your opponent or you want to deliver, and we talk too much. Just like I'm doing right now because I love to talk. But most of my movies, you won't see it like this because the new movies that I'm producing now, I have gone outside the country. I have seen how it works over there. It's not how much you can talk. Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, you can count how many dialogue he's got in that movie. If you watch Blackout the movie, trust me, you will count how many dialogues I have got in this movie. And at the end of the day, you cannot underestimate my character because my character holds down everything in the movie. Let's put at this movie, you can't watch Blackout the movie and you're going to be busy with your phone. That is not Blackout. You can't watch Blackout the movie and be communicating with the person beside you because it's going to grab your attention. Blackout the movie, you have not seen a such in the Nollywood movie industry. So I think that answered the question.
Okay, now we used to know you as with that alias American Lollipop. I have been trying to connect
American Lollipop, this perfume.
So at what point did you acquire that Crackydon?
I left Nigerian movie industry with crack, crack, aka American Lollipop. But leaving the country and going outside Nigeria, I said to myself, would these people accept crack? Because crack sounds very, very sensitive. If you go to the States, outside Nigeria, crack means something else. Coke, blah, 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 and the likes. So I said to myself, if police stop you on the road and what's your name, please? And my name is Crack. The first thing they tell you, sir, you're under arrest. With all due respect, do not open your mouth and say anything. So I said to myself, you have to be very careful. So I was like coming up with something. I said, okay, Crack. It's like when you're trying to chat for yourself, cracky. I think there was a point I put only crack. I put one, make it cracking. I was like, what is cracking? I think I am done in this country. I don't finish it there. Wow. Crackydon.
Okay, that is nice. Now, quickly, from that name, Crack itself, the way you coined it when you started, I want to just ask that, of course, in those days, the earlier days where we have the likes of Spark, were those set of people part of those who inspired you to going into acting? Because I can remember that at the early part of your acting, when we used to see you in Nigerian movies, you take action.
I know where you're going. The point is, I wasn't inspired by any of these people you have mentioned. We have this, our brother is a senior colleague. His name is Richard. But it's not a role model to say. We have this in us, me and this Jeff, because we've been doing a lot of stunts. Even we don't forget. I told you we see them like I'm more than me. That is why if you watch any of my Nollywood movie, I always want to make sure I talk much more than my opponent. If the director gave me a line, I will make sure I multiply the lines because I want to overshine. That was the mentality there. So I'm sorry to say, I don't see any one of them as my role model. I'm not trying to disrespect them. I'm not trying to discredit them. Me and Jeff were used to watching Tyrese Gibson for Black American movies. Tyrese Gibson, Will Smith, a lot of black American actors like that. So we just choose to we are the Nigerian thugs to say. That's how we put it. Like we just want to make sure, even if you see us doing all the area boys, we don't dress like them. I can still remember how much I dress. So it's not like all this, the rest of our colleagues that when they give them the area boy role, they dress strictly like area boys. But he's still gonna give you the thuggism kind of the part of it, but then you don't appear like one. So that's for that.
Now, looking at the Nigerian movie industry, as someone who has stayed here for a while, you've gone outside to see how it is being done outside Nigeria. What would you say are things that should be done in order to be at least at par with what is happening in the international world?
It's just one or two things that I will tell my people. Try to check the script you're working on. Try to check your story, who is directing the movie. I understand you cannot afford a lot, but we We call it budget movie over there as well. We call it budget movie over there. But you cannot watch their drama and compare it to your international, the so-called multi-million project that you're talking about in Nollywood movie. Why? Because they devoted their time. They devote their time for a lot of things they're doing. They spend low budget. They spend very limited amount of money over there also. But they put in a lot of work. Firstly, our movie in Nollywood movie industry here, we don't do ADR, we don't do Foley, we don't do sound effects, we don't do BGM, we don't do a lot of things like that. For Black Out the movie, for the audio aspect of Black Out the movie, I spent 6 months. All the dubbing, the Foley, we composed anything you hear from Black Out the movie was original. For color grading of Black Out the movie, we spent 5 months. You're naming it, you're putting it down. For the editing of Black Out the movie is a year plus. How many of our people in Nollywood movie can wait for this? I will still go back to their budget. I understand, but then I understand what you want to do. You want to shoot 3 days, you want to put it out there and let people see. But work on your assignment. They shoot drama movie outside there also, but they don't joke with few things, and that is why outside Nigeria, over there in Malaysia, we have something they call finance. Finance is known as film agency kind of film as finance is a film industry kind of something like that. I cannot really recollect, but you know the purpose of finance. Finance serve as a body between you and the government. You know what they do? They will give you 30% of the amount you want to spend for your movie. Let's assume you want to spend 50 million on your project. They will give you 30% of your 50 million. You know why? Because they will go through your script. Your script is provided your script is okay. Your location, your story is not portraying something bad. And after everything like that, once you're done with your production, they will support you something they will call wajib tayan. Wajib is compulsory. Tayan is like necessary. They will give you necessary support. Meaning, whatever you post, they will support you because their government believe film industry is their face. Our government don't believe anything like that because their film industry represents them out there. So, but in Nigeria, do we have that? So that is to tell you, our government, I know they are supporting us, but they need to do more for us. So that's why we can't really blame most of the filmmakers that are working on the low budget, 3 days, 4 days. I don't want to blame them.
That is intelligent of you. That was the next question I was about asking, but you've answered it. One question, you've used it to answer 2 questions. Okay, now, on a lighter note now, if Crackydon does not go into movie production, what would you be doing?
Okay, I will briefly, I always have a lot of things at the back of my mind to tell you guys because I feel it's a privilege for me to talk about it. I've been a big fan of The Rock right from time. So I have always wanted to be a wrestler. But because I love acting, so I have got no opportunity. But when I got the privilege in Malaysia, now I've got the medium in Malaysia, here and there, it's only Crackydon. We have other people who are acting in the industry there, but then it's only Crackydon. Then I am a professional wrestler as we speak. I'm a professional wrestler. When I get back to Malaysia now, I'm still gonna jump in the ring. If you check my what is it called? Check my YouTube or you see some of the places where I was fighting in the ring. So I do wrestling, but wrestling is just like second job for me. Acting is what I see as my top priority. But if I wasn't acting, trust me, I'll definitely be a full-time wrestler.
Live in Malaysia. To those of us who are here, we would like to kind of imagine how it is like. I want you to share the experience of how it is over there compared to Nigeria where you grew up.
But the thing is, you have to understand, you see, as somebody who left the country for greener pasture, or somebody who got a passion that he wants to go and do something there, which one of the two?
From whichever angle you pick it from, I'm okay.
Okay, I left the country not knowing that I'll be this big in Malaysia because my target was India. But then getting there, it changed a whole lot of things for me. First thing you need to know at the back of your mind is a lot of people want to travel out of the country, but there are some questions that you need to ask yourself. How ready I am? How ready am I? So are you fully ready to face all the consequences? Because It is not easy as what you see on social media. Some people choose to show you whatever they want you to see. That's why I always tell people, you can fake it till you make it. Ain't no crime. For me, I believe you can fake it as long as you're working towards your originality. Because this life we live now, you tend to be intimidated. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not thinking bad of anybody, as long as you have a clean mind, as long as I'm looking at you, your business is doing good, I am not having a bad mind for you. Like, why is it only him? You will never see that from me. If my friend is doing something great, if I cannot support him physically, I will support him spiritually. Like, God, please let him continue growing like that. So as long as my mind is clean, as long as your mind is clean, fake it. In as much as you're not hurting anybody, as far as you're only trying to not to be intimidated, fake it.
Yeah. Now, from our lengthy discussion, I've observed that Crackydon is this a very brilliant mind. Now, I want you to give us details of your academic background.
I'm a dropout though, but it is what it is anyways. I went to Olabisi Onabanjo University. I dropped out and I continued my education in Malaysia. I am still doing my masters anyways. Once I am done, I will let you guys know about that.
Okay.
But don't forget, it's not about school though.
Yeah.
You need to have that at the back of your mind. Street will teach you a lot. Everything I have known today as we speak, I grabbed everything on the street. Because I watch people, I learn from people. Whatever I hear from you, I pick it. Whatever I hear from you, I pick it, and I put everything together. And I watch a lot of Floyd Mayweather is my role model when it comes to addressing the public. Why? I'm sure you don't know Floyd Mayweather. If you know him, you know is this very flamboyant guy. They call him flamboyant, but I see him as a perfectionist.
A kind of Muhammad Ali style. Muhammad also speaks.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali is outspoken.
Yeah.
It's a man's choice. Yeah. So you cannot compare him to Muhammad. Muhammad Ali is loved. He was loved and he's still loved. Anyways, people love him. 80% of people watching Floyd, they only watch him to see him fall, to see him fail. He has never been loved by people. Even his own people at Nevada, they never loved him. Everybody went into the MGM grant. They only went there to see him like, you are going to be effed today. You are going to be knocked out today. But this guy will tell you, I'm not fighting with the audience. It is going to be you and I on the light. This is a guy who will talk shit. Sorry to use this word. This is a guy who will talk some things outside the ring, and he will get into the ring and he will back it up. I am this type of a guy that I will touch some things behind you. If I cannot say it behind you, I talk about somebody now. If I see you one-on-one, if you are offended, bring it on. I'm going to defend myself. So if you have this kind of sharp mind, you will never go wrong. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect. But this is a guy who will stand in front of the media. He will tell you, this is me. I'm not going to fake anything. You guys like it or you don't like it. So that's why I told you, I learned a lot of things on the street. So school doesn't teach me this. I went to Olabisi Onabanjo University. I never learned this in the school. Even I went for banking and finance. Is that what I'm doing right now? Hey, I'm doing my masters outside Nigeria. You see, am I doing filmmaking in my course there? It's not. So most of the things we pick here and there.
The effort you've put in place to achieve that project, Blackout.
Yeah.
What should your prospective audience now, those who are going to be seeing the movie now, what should they expect?
Trust me, if you spent 1 cent of your money, I mean, let's say, I don't know how much they are even, sorry, I don't even want to talk about this. If you spent 1,000 to see Blackout the movie, quote me wrong or right, you will look for my Instagram handle or my social media handle and say, thank you for talking about this movie. If you do not say this, I am saying it categorically. I have said this on so many programs. Call me, come and take back your money from me. Friend Nollywood movie industry. Because ever since I've been posting about Blackout the movie, what I've been telling you is you will see a different face of Nollywood movie industry. This is the kind of Nollywood movie industry that will bring Hollywood industry. Like, who is this guy? Because if I have gone out of the country And like I told you, I've done a lot of movies outside the country. I have done a lot of choreographs of different movies. I've done stunt mastering for a lot of movies. All the kind of techniques that I have to black out the movie. In the bloopers, like I told you guys, you will see the bloopers. I reviewed a lot of it because I know even if Nollywood movie industry filmmakers they want to do it, you can't freaking do it. You know why? Even if you dare it, you don't have the experience. Okay, if you have the experience, bring those artists who can do it for me. You will rather go and bring people from Hollywood and they're going to charge you billions. Then I know it's not you that you're doing it. You know, I see a lot of filmmakers in Nigeria, they will bring white people to come and sit in front of the camera. Yet, you bring international GOP to come and have the camera for you. And I see them sitting on tripod, sitting on track and dolly. Why you still let them sit on track and dolly? Fine, it's good to take a track and dolly shot. But most of your shot, what are you still shooting? That is to tell you, you're still shooting drama. So I'm bringing, brother, trust me, City People is my family. I want you guys to keep on supporting me. My next project, you're going to quote me wrong or right. I'm bringing something different. I expect my fans to be looking up the new ones and the old ones that have been supporting me. Trust me, I am not going to let you guys down. And this is from me to you guys. You are expecting something great.